The Jones Glenn Beck Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Worldwide and out to the greater universe, you're listening to the Jones Glenn Beck Show.
There are just some days you just want to throw your hands up, ladies and gentlemen. I've always known that there's very few people that are actually on our side. But as the days and weeks and months continue to roll on, the list of people who we can't trust anymore continues to grow. You know, I used to have a decent amount of admiration for Michael Savage. I've even come to his defense at times. But I don't know what's going on over there, Michael. So I'm addressing you at least here at the beginning, but this will go definitely deeper into other personalities. But Michael, do you really think that this victory, this gubernatorial victory, I think it was Virginia or whatever, it doesn't matter to me anymore, really means something? Do you really think the Republicans are going to save us from what is being put on us? Have you not been watching your orange man, Michael, the guy you have on your show very often, or at least quite a bit? He's the one who implemented the OWS. He's the one who set all this stuff in motion. He's the one who started the demise of the economy. Do you not realize that now, Michael? Are you not paying attention? And this goes for AJ and Glenn Beck, the people who are supposedly on the right side of the aisle. Yet they're cheering, can't say them all, but they're not putting enough pressure on the people who are from the establishment parties. They think actually replacing the Democrats with a Republican is going to change anything? It's going to placate a whole bunch of people. The more ours, this is the plan, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you this right now. They've realized that not enough people are following along with the program, so they're going to switch it up a little bit and put some R's back in to make everybody more comfortable with what is going on, so that they will acquiesce their rights for the purpose, because now there's people in the halls of government that are more trusted. They got the R by their name. One thing about the people in the D's, you can blatantly see who they are. They're not scared to hide who they are. You got to admire them for that. No matter how much I disagree with them, don't like them or whatever, you have to at least admire them. But the snakes in the grass Republicans, are you kidding me? You're going to trust them? You're going to trust the governor over in the state to do the right thing? All that is going to do is calm the nerves of the people who are not following along right now, and it'll make it easier to implement what they needed to do, as it did with the orange man in office. Look at how easy it was to rush things to market that weren't approved and that are supposedly being approved as we speak for different age groups. Usually that takes years and years and years to accomplish, but The orange man streamlined it, as if that makes it a better way to bring these things to market. It was an emergency. Well, if it was such an emergency, why'd you shut everything down? Because that has been the instrument of destroying the economy and the supply chain issues and all the other things that have led right up until the loss of choice and the system that is upon us, whether it be the biblical term that a lot of people believe that's going on now, or the non-biblical view of that. It doesn't matter, really. It is a system that is being brought down upon us. You don't have to give it the name that some people are giving it. Starts with an A and a C, that system. It doesn't matter if you call it that or not. A system is being brought down upon us, and it was implemented by a Republican and pushed upon us with a Democrat. They're both on the same side, apparently. You haven't figured that one out yet? And Michael Savage over there thinking that a change in a letter is going to change the course of the country. Either, Michael Savage, you've lost it, my friend. You don't understand. You used to talk about this stuff. But now, apparently, it doesn't matter. You've either lost it, my friend, or you're just helping it along. And you're there to placate us. It's like AJ, who doesn't put enough pressure when he's got a bigger microphone than any of us. He could be out there putting pressure on the person who implemented the OWS, which has turned out to be not so great for the people that are getting the you-know-what. We're going to just call it the you-know-what. So I throw my hands up. I'm like, there's nobody on our side. I found that out this week, and there's nobody on my side. So we're all alone in this, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're going to believe these people who are just mouthpieces, especially like Glenn Beck, who's just a mouthpiece for the NWO. You don't think so, right? You think he's against it, right? That's why he was magically there to get the spotlight on the Afghan situation, right? He was just magically there, right? And then if you listen to how he words his show, he's not warning you as much as he's telling you this stuff is coming down. Because he knows. He's got inside information. And this goes to the people on the alternative media and the people on the GooTubes and stuff who just repeat the mainstream narrative. They see an article that is posted in the mainstream. They'll read maybe 2 paragraphs of it because that's supposedly the shocking information. When usually the real juicy stuff isn't until the very end. And they grab you with the headline. You all know this, my normal listeners. You all know this by now, that you can't go by the headline. And if you haven't figured that out, why are you listening? That's one of the basic things we do here, is point out that most of the headlines we get are BS. And the real juicy information is deep down in these stories, or even more likely, in a link that they put in there that takes you to an actual source where you can read the source material. But most people aren't going to do that. They know this. They know the recent news, ladies and gentlemen, the recent news that all the people in the alternative media were pointing out to you recently, just repeaters, that China 31 will talk in code. The people who don't know code, well, we're going to have a future video, which is going to give you a 101 crash course in this. So if you come here in the future, you don't get all confused, because I get some of those people. The code's too confusing. It's really not. It's actually very simplified. It's just a lot of people try to look too deep into, and they don't see the apparent stuff. But okay, the recent talk about how 31 was telling their population to stock up for winter, right? That had everybody talking on the YouTubes. Oh boy, we told you better get ready. We told you better get ready. You better get ready. Mm-hmm. That's because they read the first 2 paragraphs, maybe a third, maybe, from a mainstream malpractice media source who gave you a headline to direct your attention. Better get ready, right? Okay. Well, I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that article wasn't for your benefit at all. It wasn't. In fact, that article, which come out on 11/2, 11 plus 2, you know what that number is, right? Talking about 31. 11 plus 2, talking about 31. And to confirm it's just absolutely interesting, because to confirm where the source of this information was coming from, ladies and gentlemen, to confirm it, because most people don't even look, they look behind it because they see the headlines. Some of these channels out here that you so follow, that you share the information, it's so important, right? Miss this article. The article that was on 11/2 came out at 11:20 a.m. So what this article, and this is just a crash course for some of you who can't figure out what I'm talking about here. 31 was the story. 13 was behind the story, 11/2, and it happened on 13/31. You see that? How that works out? Ladies and to be confirmed about the propaganda in the headline, it came out on 11/20. If you can't figure that one out. In other words, that story wasn't for the people to consume, ladies and gentlemen. They were given a headline so they could focus on something. So the people who were communicating information, when you read the whole story, and I'm not going to read it to you, by now, my normal listeners will go find out the info and find it out themselves. If you're too lazy to do that, oh well. I'm pointing you in a direction. Go read multiple articles on that, and you'll find out what it was really about and what information was being shared between the masters of reality, not the stuff they were putting in your feed, the headline and the first couple paragraphs. Beyond that, most people will not read. They come from Bloomberg. Go to the Bloomberg article, okay? And see what that tells you. And that's, I guess, the little bit of lesson I'm trying to get across to people in this first little bit here, is that nobody's on your side. And if you are going to listen to these people, these channels, or the mainstream voices, they're going to give you information to distract you. And the repeaters here on the YouTubes who only read the headline to you and maybe the first paragraph or two are just helping them along. Whether they're knowingly doing it or unknowingly doing it, I guess that's for you to decide. That's not for me to decide. But nobody's on your side, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody. So when you're gathering information for yourself, when you're collecting the data, even from sources, because I believe in this, even from sources that would be considered the enemy, you need to know what they're doing. Take into account what's being propagandized to you, and if the repeaters are actually repeating or they're going in depth into the story to tell you what was really being communicated there. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. Don't think about touching that dial.
That would be a mistake.
The John Lebang Show will be right back after this.
That's guaranteed, man. Like some good Thai stick.
Are you in need of commercial or residential window cleaning? Do you need your office cleaned? Maybe custodial work? How about some gutter cleaning? If you do, then call Pane in the Glass for a beautiful shine that's crystal clear. Call Pane and the Glass. You can find them on Facebook at Pane and the Glass. You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
It's better than the eyeliner convention.
Some people might say, John, why don't you just tell us what you're trying to put across here? What is the information you saw in there? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. In all honesty, I'm tired of helping out the repeaters, actually making them look smart. Because even though my numbers don't look so great, obviously some channels out there, some people out there are listening and then taking what I... Because, I mean, I'm not the best, okay? Don't get me wrong. But I put out information that I come across, and next thing you know, there's 4 or 5 other channels repeating the very same information because they have bigger crowds. Apparently they look like the smart ones. And then I sit there and I shake my head. So let them figure it out. Let them figure it out. My listeners are smart enough to do so. And if you're coming here to my channel or to my radio show for me to spoon feed you information to tell you what to think, you're at the wrong place. Go somewhere else, because I'm not going to tell you what to think. I'm going to show you what I find. I'm going to talk about things from certain perspectives, be it my own or maybe, as I discussed in many broadcasts, the perspective of the masters of reality. Some people confused my beliefs with what I explain of the beliefs of the masters of reality. That's okay. But I'm not going to help people make themselves look smart. If you don't come here and do some thinking yourself, and you just want me to tell you what to think, again, you're in the wrong place. And the thing is, I'm not all that great. I've stumbled upon a few things in my day. That's about it. I've stumbled upon a few things in my day, and it's helped me have a better understanding of the world structure. And I've shared some of that information. I've tried to point out certain things throughout my time here. But the idea, ladies and gentlemen, that if you just want to get spoon-fed information, and that's what the masters of reality, they do that. And that's what the repeaters do. Then there's no point in me telling any of you what I really know or what I found out. I shouldn't put really know. Because most of this stuff that everybody talks about, well, we don't know the full story on anything. Like the AB situation that happened. You know, AB, there was a movie called Rust. On the 12th day shoot, on the 12th day of the shoot, having trouble talking, of a 21-day shoot. You know what happened that day, right? On October 21st, do you remember that? Anyways, a lot of people had information for you, but they didn't give you the right information. They were just talking about the exact same things that the malpractice media wanted you to talk about. And I took a little time and I put a little video out on things that I discovered. Guys, remember the Meta thing that just happened? Meta, M-E-T-A, over the fake book, right? You know about that, right? The name change. Remember we were talking about the 8 and the, well, look at their logo. So many people are talking about the word. Mm-hmm. Did everybody notice the address, by the way, One Hacker Way? Did you guys notice that? Did that click at all? The 2 8s that were there? That was just confirmation of what was sent out. There was a confirmation code there. See? It was the next step in what was broadcasted on the event of 10/21. I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen. Not to toot my horn. Everybody was talking about the word META and what it meant, and the malpractice media. Remember, they jumped on that right away to get everybody going. They told you a little bit of a falsehood, so that way some of them YouTube channels had to correct them, and that gave them the distraction they needed. Everybody got focused on the word. You didn't see anything else. That's okay. Notice I didn't I shared some information to a friend from Mr. Potter over there because he had decent information, and I just wanted to correct him, and I didn't want to go through the whole thing, so I just sent it over. But it wasn't about the META at all. It may have been a little bit, but they were confirming what was sent out on the 21st. The information that was sent out to them on the 21st, we discussed a little bit of that. Some people got mad at me because I didn't tell them what to think. I was like, can you figure it out just a little? Is it too hard to think a minute? What does this mean? It can't mean what the malpractice media is telling you. And what's going to happen to the... did they ever find out who the perpetrators were in that scenario? We'll find out if anybody gets thrown in the clinker and if they really do go in the clinker. You know, again, we can't trust anyone. And getting information from every source you possibly can is great. But we have to, if you are just going out there to be told what to think, you're going to be led to the slaughter. Just like all the people who still believe the Republicans can save the country if they can just elect them. Do you not understand, ladies and gentlemen, that Operation Ballot Box that happened a year ago, which set all this next phase into motion, the phase of who is a domestic terrorist, the phase of the mandates, the phase of the final destruction of the supply chain. That was all set into motion there. Do you honestly believe that there's going to be an honest ballot box event in the future? We know whoever they are, we call them the masters of reality. We know they're in control of all that. They will put in the spotlight who they want. And maybe the choices will seem, at least on the surface, as opposites. But they are all of one mind, under one system that is being brought into existence before our eyes, ladies and gentlemen. The merging of 13 and 31 creates 44. But that 4-4 has to become an 8. They have to become one. Right now they're separate. Do you understand? They're separate at the 4-4. They have to become 8, and they're working their way to that. And all these events along the way are steps. And I can't stress enough that you can't get caught up in what the mainstream malpractice media is broadcasting, is propagandizing to you. There's a thing about these people, they have to tell you what is coming down, whether it be by arrogance or by oath or by decree. Whatever it is, they have to tell you, but they're allowed, or they do it with subterfuge. And you have to look deep into what they're telling you to understand what is happening. And the people that focus on the headlines or repeat the headlines and only focus on that aspect of what is being propagandized are leading you to believing in something that they, the masters of reality, want you to believe, which, if you've been watching this channel for any duration, you know that almost everything that has been told to us along the way has been a bunch of BS. And it's been, at very least, altered to make things to highlight specific things and to hide other things throughout our history. So if all I've done here, this broadcast, is raise your awareness a little bit that you can't just believe what people are telling you. And you have to look deeper into everything to at least get a basic understanding that you're being BS'd. See, we may never know the truth because that is the most elusive thing there is. But if we can discern what is BS, we can clear out a lot of things that are irrelevant to what is happening to not only our lives, our families' lives, but the world. So hopefully this little excursion into the broadcast has given you something to think about. That's all I want to do, is make you think. And you decide what you think is happening, what you believe. You decide where you think the trajectory of the world is going. And what you can do to survive, thrive, and kick some serious butt in it. Because in the end, with all these things that are happening, ladies and gentlemen, the only thing for certain is we have to find a way to make it through it all. Or we won't. And sometimes the next reality isn't all that unappealing. Although I don't know what's there. You know, you don't know what's there until we get there. See, even a thinking mind who has some kind of religious belief will always question it because they haven't experienced it yet. No matter what you believe happens after this form of existence decays and fades into nothingness, whatever the next form of existence is for each and every one of us, we're never going to know until we get there. With that being said, folks, thank you for tuning in once again. I really appreciate it. We'll see you next time. We've got a lot going on this end of things, so we're going to try to keep up with these broadcasts, but we got the big Banger Music Awards coming up, and, well, you know, that's going to occupy a lot of our time. Go to our website, www.jaylebang.com, to know more information about what we're doing here and some other things, and we'll see you on the next show.
3, 2, 1.
have liftoff. Tune in again next week. Same